Live from HMD Studio, it's Stay Busy with Armand Sadler. Yes, sir. We're here. We are here, ladies and gentlemen. We are back in the esteemed HMD studio. Welcome to another edition of Stay Busy with Armand Sadler, where we have responsible discussions on the music business and the music culture. I am the host, Armand Sadler, a.k.a. Vegan Chorizo Papi, a.k.a. the founder of Bald Nigga Ballers, a.k.a. Billboard Armand. We will get into that a little later. Feeling good. It's been a good week, a very balanced week, and I'll probably get into the balance of it all. But, you know, that's life. Life is all about balance, but I don't do the show alone. How you feeling, man?
What's up, y'all? How you feeling? This is Nick Early, executive producer and co-host of Stay Busy. What is this balance you speak of, sir?
So, you know, we could
hold on. Speaking of balance, you kind of loud in my ear. Cannon, can you? We're gonna shout out Cannon. Cannon,
the guy, right? Yeah, of course.
He's too loud. I don't like him that much. I don't gotta hear him that loud in my ear. All right, that's good.
And we'd be going out of order, but so obviously I debuted on Billboard this week. Interviewed Maxo Cream.
The debut.
really I've been working towards that for years, as you know. We've had many conversations about that, but right. I've accepted, especially in this journalism journey, is that, you know, the timing that you want isn't always the timing that's best for you. And I think with Maxo's album, of course, coming out and it being a really strong album and everything that he's overcome the last few years and everything I've overcome the last few years, it made a lot of sense. And so it was like a really cool moment, but at the same time, like, and not that I wasn't excited about it, but part of me feels like this is just where I'm supposed to be. It feels like I'm meant to be where I am. So it was kind of like, oh, dope, this happened. I finally made it happen.
Yeah.
Let's make the next thing happen. But the balance came in that I had a few opportunities that I was looking forward to fall through. And I've taken many L's over the years. And so it's not, they weren't anything that devastated me, but it's kind of like, hey, life is going to give you those ups, but also give you those downs. And you just kind of got to be in the middle and just be okay with both sides and just keep chugging. So that's where I'm finding the balance at, to give some more context to that.
Right. Can't be too high or be too low. Kind of
exactly.
Just remain kind of even keel with it.
Yeah, because you get too high on yourself and then you have a low and then you just you plummet, like you fall off that pedestal, or you know, or even when in the moments where you're too low and then you experience a high, you shoot right up, you just shoot right back down. So I've been working on just being in the middle and being grateful for the good things and also being grateful for the bad things too, because if you don't take a lesson out of, if you get a lesson out of it, it's not a bad thing. Like it may be bad in the moment, but it's something that can, you know, help you in moving forward. So yeah, that's the whole balance thing, to get into that. But well, you introed yourself already. Kombucha King that makes your heart sing. Oat milk Olympian, even though you don't have any oat milk on you today.
Yeah, I have a name for myself, but today I'm the water jug warden.
Okay. With the way you was acting episode 1, it makes sense, because you was
you know, it's funny, I was just giving you a hard time the whole time. I'll tell the audience, I was just giving him a hard time. I actually always have one myself.
Yeah.
I be trying to stay hydrated. It's good for your skin.
It's very.
Drink your water.
Yep. So I want to thank you all for tuning in, tapping in as well. And any new listeners, whether you like tacos or quesadillas, pita or tortillas, Wicked or Mamma Mia, and Tamara or Tia.
Ooh. Well, tacos or quesadillas. Dang, I feel like I ate both equally growing up. Ooh, it's tacos for me.
Yeah.
It's tacos for
me. I think so. I think me too.
But I love quesadillas.
Quesadillas are great, man.
Yeah, love them. Yeah. Tortillas or pita, it really depends. I'm assuming you mean flour tortillas here?
Yep. Yeah. Corn, I don't do.
You don't like corn tortillas?
I mean, corn is cool. I prefer flour tortillas though.
Okay, you like bread.
I do like bread. Try to avoid it, a lot of carbs and all that.
Nah, definitely tortillas for me. I like pita though. Pita fire.
Pita's great.
Wicked or Mamma Mia. I've seen Wicked live.
Me too.
Wicked is the one.
Incredible.
Tamara, Tia. So I think after, I feel like Tia, like, it was just the one that everyone liked because Tamara, they made Tamara goofy.
Yeah.
In everything they did, they made Tamara goofy.
Yeah.
Right? So it was like hard, I guess, I'm sure a lot of people feel this way. It was like, you didn't even like think of Tamara that way.
Yeah,
you know
honestly.
like, you didn't even think of her that way because she was just always playing on the show. She was the goofy one. Like in Twitches, she was the goofy one. Like she's just always been that way. But I feel like, I'm gonna just go with my gut. It's Tia for me.
It's Tia. It's the Tia for me. It's giving Tia. Of course, we got to shout out our guy, Kieran Hurley, VP of Everything, the man that you cannot see, but you can feel up there in Ithaca, holding it down for the guys. I want to give love to Anchor, our distribution platform. If you do not know by now, Anchor will distribute your podcast for free to all the streaming platforms you would like to use, and you can get some sponsored ads, regardless of your listenership. Like I said, we are back in HMD Studio. The lights, the big logo in the back, Camden holding it down on the engineering, our levels, and all that good stuff. So we here. I told you, we stay busy nomads. You don't know where we gonna be. Like, we might be in Texas next time recording, filming, worldwide, nationwide. Stay busy, but plenty to chat about. So let's jump right into it. I kind of already alluded to, Maxo and Billboard, but a really great conversation, really great album too. If you all haven't gotten a chance to listen to that, features from Tyler, A$AP Rocky, Freddie Gibbs, Monaleo, Don Toliver. My favorite tracks are 11:59, Christian, Streets Alone, for real, a whole lot of. Maxo's great, man. Like, he's extremely, extremely lyrical, extremely clever. Like 11:59, he says, "I've seen niggas turn 12 like 11:59," and like it's such a simple line, but it's like it's also
hasn't been
real
said.
Clever. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh no, go ahead. I'm
sorry.
I'm
just saying it's taking the low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
And I'm showing,
but
like,
making it feel like, oh shit,
one.
like he struck something because no one's ever said this yet. He's really, really clever, really like catchy, funny lines, but then really personal as well. Like he lost his brother last year, and he's lost a bunch of different people to violence or sicknesses, but he also just had a kid. So his life he's experiencing the balance of life as well, the ups and downs of life, and so he really paints a vivid picture on this album.
Where's he from?
Houston, yeah,
that's right. Because he knows our boy.
DeBo. Yes.
What up, DeBo?
Yeah.
How you doing, man?
I didn't get to publish this in the interview, but I knew going into it that he knew DeBo. So I was like, yo, we have a mutual friend. Like, my guy went to Cornell, DeBo. He's like, oh, DeBo. And then I told DeBo that we spoke about him. He's like, yo, he always says my name like that. I'm like, it's just so cool. Like, the world is so small that we know this guy we went to Cornell with, who is friends with, like, Maxo's genuinely one of my favorite rappers. Like, when Brandon Banks came out 2019, that was one of my favorite albums of that year. And there are people saying Weight of the World they feel is one of the albums of the year this year. So it's hitting the people in a way, and so I'm happy for him, happy for myself for getting that opportunity. And there was a lot of dope articles put out about him. Like, he got an OK Player interview, Rolling Stone interview, Jason Buford. So shout out to everyone who covered him and told this story. But yeah, salute to Maxo, salute to RCA, salute to Rock Nation, who he signed to under management, and congrats to him. But
real quick,
go ahead.
Real quick, I want you to tell the people, what is it like? How do you approach preparing for speaking to an artist? Like, as a journalist, when you have a feature, give us a little bit of insight into that.
Yeah. So, my thing is, I never want to ask them things that they've already answered before. So it starts with watching their visual interviews and reading their interviews as well. I don't ever want them to feel like they're repeating themselves. So that's first for me. Second is listening to the music, of course. Yeah. And through that, you can take different things. Like the song Christian, I was like, is he trying to say he's a Crip who's a Christian? So that was one of my questions in the interview. I asked him about that, and like his explanation for it was like super dope. I would encourage you all to read it, but essentially,
that's right. We're not giving it. Go read it.
I'm not. Go read the interview.
Go run my clicks up.
And if you know me, you know I'm a huge wrestling fan, and he's constantly making references to WWF, Triple H, Jeff Hardy, X-Pac, whoever, so I made sure to ask him that as well. But my thing is, I'll do so much preparation going into it, then when the person gets in front of me, like I'll have notes, I'll have questions ready, I will completely ignore my document of questions when I'm actually sitting in front of the person on Zoom or in person, because I want the conversation to feel natural. I don't want them to feel like they're being interrogated. I don't want it to feel robotic. I want it to be a genuine conversation. And I think that I was able to establish that level of comfort where he was, joking around and, just saying everything. Like he revealed he almost signed to Freddie Gibbs and Lambeau early in his career, and that wasn't something that I knew. He might have mentioned before, I might have missed it, but it's cool to just have those moments where someone tells you something that they haven't told anyone else before. So yeah, it's a lot of preparation, but at the end of the day, I don't like to bog myself down with feeling restricted to my document of questions. I want to have a conversation with them because they're humans at the end of the day.
Come on,
that's the biggest thing. So yeah, salute to Maxo. We talked about this episode 1. Majid Jordan released Wildest Dreams, 11-track project. Features include Sway Lee, Drake, Diddy. Earlier this week, we got Forget About the Party. That was their 4th single after Waves of Blue. Been through that, Summer Rain. And yeah, the album's here. So how you feeling about it?
I'll be honest, I didn't get to finish it all the way I wanted to. So I'll just preface with that. But what is it? What's that movie? I'm whelmed. It's not overwhelmed. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't think I've seen the movie, but like I remember Parks on Joe Budden podcast said that. He's like, I'm not overwhelmed, I'm not underwhelmed, I'm just whelmed.
I'm just whelmed. Anyways, yeah, I'm just whelmed. Like there is, to be honest, when I heard the 4-piece where they put all the singles together, and I told you like that track list and just the way it felt, I was like, man, honestly, just say it's an EP. Just say it's an EP, because I'll take it like that. It really, I could tell that there was a little bit of elevation in the sound. It was still very much so them. Like is what you it's what you go to them for. It delivered that for sure. But as I guess I had kind of, because I was running that 4-piece up. In the last few days, since it dropped, I was running it up like a few times. I hit it once, I was like, oh no, run it back. Oh no, run it back. And so I guess I kind of started to develop a rapport, if you will, with the sequence, which I think is not good. But I realized immediately, I was like, oh, this is them giving us a little sample sort of situation. So I was like, oh, well, we'll see how it goes. But it had me hopeful, right? Not that they blew my hopes or anything like that. But no, it was just like, so for example, like I had to pull up the track list here really quick. The joint, what's the joint where it's just the guitar, him and guitar?
Might be the title track.
I don't think it's the title track. I'm gonna play something. I'm gonna play too much of it, but basically, yeah. So he had a track on there where it's just him and guitar, and it sounds just beautiful. Like it's kind of the ballad thing, and then they got, of course, that electronic sort of soulful pop. That we get to them for. But there's a lot of things here that it was like, damn, we had to wait this long for this. Not that it's disappointing though. Too, it's just more so like, y'all, it's very much so you could have been giving us this. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I really enjoyed what I've heard of it so far, but it wasn't anything. I was just like, oh my God, just like they're back. It's like, everyone simmer down. We're back. Here we go. I didn't really care for the Drake joint, just because his melody choice was strange to me, and it just our first listen for sure. It wasn't like, it was just like that. And then I will say the title track. That one, the production seemed a little bit underdone, like a little too understated. And I know they like to keep it simple, but bro, you listen to like the space between, which I still think, from what I've heard, is the best. And you said yourself, I won't steal your thunder, but
that's cool.
It's just, I was expecting a little bit more in certain moments. It's like, okay, you know, where's the production gonna go? It's more than just, you know, setting a cool vibe with some chords or some synthy stuff. Like, give me some arrangement. I'm in the space now where I really want to hear arrangements, bro. For my favorites. You know, I want to hear chord changes. I want to hear different things. I'm just expecting a little bit more, maybe to my fault, or I have unrealistic expectations from some people. But you know, I just want to hear a little more, and so a few songs left me with more to be desired from a production standpoint.
Yeah. So. I thought it was good. Like, it wasn't like spectacular, but it wasn't bad. It was just good. Like, it definitely quelled my concerns. And I think, you know, and you brought up a really good point when we first talked about, did they miss their moment? Like, because what we perceive as momentum, they might not have perceived as it. And it's like, that's been their MO throughout their careers. They'll drop something, they'll disappear. They'll drop something, they'll disappear. So maybe, you know, what we've gotten accustomed to as someone going on a run or being a star, that just may not be their MO, and that's perfectly fine. But, you know, none of their projects have ever disappointed me. This one is the same. True, this isn't disappointing. I really like their chemistry with Sway Lee. Sway Lee is like, he's really dope with the pop stuff. Like, he's so versatile. He's a chameleon. Like, my boy Bryce Hayes tweeted, like, Majid and Sway Lee are meant to make music together. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I agree. Like, this is solid. It's a dope opening track to the album.
Wouldn't need a whole project birth though.
Nah, definitely not.
A track is cool.
Track is cool. Yeah. Summer Rain, I didn't like as a single. I like it better in the sequence of the project. I think coming after Dancing on a Dream, coming before Stars Align with Drake, it makes sense. And that's the thing we always talk about, is you got to get the context of the entire run of the album. I really liked Stars Align with Drake. When I first heard it, I was like, oh, this is different. Am I going to like this? And as I sat with it more, I ran it again. I was like, nah, this is really dope. And I think, you know, the cool thing is Drake is experimenting. It's something different from him. It's a tone. It's a melody. It's things that we haven't heard from him before. And it's things that people want from him on his album. I remember I had a conversation, and I'm going to refer this. The conversation I was referring to last week, I said the conversation I'm referring to this week. I was talking to my boy Caleb Catlin, and we were going like for like an hour. He was just...
You will defend some Drake? What?
No, because it wasn't even me defending. I was like, this is the guy who said he felt like 7 a.m. on Bridal Path was... Drake has done that before.
Go listen again.
And he felt like No Friends in the Industry was more daring and more whatever. And I'm just like, I've come to accept, you know, Drake albums, we're not going to get the experimentation that we want on his features, for example, like something like this, something like a Twist and Turn, something like I feel like he tries more things on his features. Like every like Latino record he's done, it's never been on his projects. It's only been on features. Like he has a certain his albums, like, while he does experiment a bit, he doesn't go too far left, too far right. But I like that, you know, we can hear something like this, and it's like it's dope. It's dope. It's something that we haven't heard before. So I think people have to accept, you know, if they want that experimentation from him, you got to accept it on the features, because his albums, he's doing a certain thing, and I'm avoiding the word formulaic because I don't want to call it that. Well. But you know, I can see why someone would say that. But anyways, back to Majid. I loved when I heard "Forget About the Party" this week. That was the single of the 4. I was like, okay, all right, I'm locked in. Like, I'm locked in. That it's really good. Majid Jordan does really well with ballads, like for being this like 80s type electro pop, more upbeat dance type music. Like, they're really great with the ballads. I would consider Gave Your Love Away a ballad, maybe. No.
I see what you mean.
It's a little more up tempo.
It's up tempo, but it's like smooth and nah, bro. That's I don't know. That, like, if that came on when I'm shopping, I'm buying something. Straight up.
I'm trying to think, like, what other record. No, because Original Heartthrob is the same tempo, kind of. But Majid Caught Up with Khalid is a ballad. Like, that one is a really dope ballad. And yeah, they do really well with like slower type music. Like it's very, very emotive. I don't know what it was about the Diddy ad libs on Sway, but I just love that. Like when I saw Diddy's name, I was like, I hope he's not rapping. We don't need a Diddy verse in 2021. But he just threw in some ad libs, and I was like, you know what? That's cool. Like
ad libs to get a feature, baby.
Right. Yeah. I liked it. But overall, this album was good. I don't love it, but right. It was good, and it was. I definitely went into this like I don't know if I'm gonna like what I hear, and I didn't dislike anything in particular. I do agree it could have been a bit more. Some things felt undercooked, as you said, but overall it was cool. It was good.
Also too, I'm just looking at the track list right now. I actually pretty much finished the album. I got to maybe halfway through Sway, and I had to like continue doing what I was doing.
Yeah.
So I just got to run Sweet, but I'm guessing now I pretty much listened to it. Listen to it. Yeah. I'm still Space Between and A Place Like This. Oh,
yeah, A Place Like This is special. I think Space Between might be their magnum opus, and that's okay. Like, it is what it is. Like,
I mean, they're just getting back. They're just getting back into us. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, but
I don't really care for the self-titled.
Yeah, it's cool. I don't really go back.
Nothing
to it
like what stands out from the self-titled to you?
Is that where Drake was on? Was that Phases?
That's My Love.
My Love. I'm sorry, My Love. Yeah, is this Phases on that too though? Keep going through. No, that might be on A Place Like This.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
Yeah, whatever. But yeah, overall, it's cool project. I don't dislike it. It was cool. Yeah. Next up, Her releases a new video and Colbert performance for Anyone. As the resident Her stan, the Her correspondent on Stay Busy. How'd you feel about it?
I was just saying, like, when we listened to it, I was like, well, look at that. A song that sounds like her sound is the one that they put a video for. I mean, in all seriousness, like what are the words that I want to say about this? I will always love her. I'll always support what they do with her. I may be ready for a break. I may be ready for that.
Wow.
Yeah. I just I'm ready for, because like the crazy part too is that we were just talking about, like when I said For Anyone, you're like, oh, was that joint even on the project? And it's just like, this is where I've gotten to, like the space of where I don't really know the joints like that.
Yeah. She's got a lot of music out. Like a lot.
But we know the other joints.
Yeah.
We know them.
Yeah.
Boom, we can rattle off. And I say, if I walk with someone, give me 5 Her joints. They gon' get there. You know what I'm saying? Some people give you 10.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm just in a space where I'm just like, I'm enjoying from afar right now. Truthfully, I'm enjoying from afar, and I'm wishing her all the greatness in the world. But I'm not as tapped in because it's just, I don't feel locked. I don't feel connected to what's out right now. Just because maybe I gotta spin the block on it. I mean, there were joints on there, but like, but bro, oh my god! And I still think about it, like with the way they touted it as the debut joint. Like,
I really think a big part of it was just how long we were waiting. Like, we've been talking on this podcast since season 1. Like, when Her drops that debut album, it's going to shake up the world, and like we expected it because look at what she's given us prior to that. There were no misses except for that Slide remix, which we're not going to talk about. It was like I really think we expected magnificence, and what we got, it's just fascinating that we. I don't want to go in on I feel like it's on the machine around her,
right? But it's like we say it. We've said it. You know
what? Why did you think this was the direction to go when you've seen what stuff from Her has just resonated and been successful? It's mind blowing, but she could take a break. Like, I guess that'd be cool. I don't know. I'm just whatever. Like
that's what I'm saying.
I have no desire to go back to the album, and I think that just said, like, I'll go back to the first EP. Was it just called 21 or is it called Volume 1? I'll go back to that. No problem. I'll go back to all her old stuff. No problem. This one is just like, oh, damn.
She's still fire.
Yeah, forever. You put this here.
I just put it there just to make a note of it.
I don't really. Kanye West changed his name illegally to Ye.
That's all we got.
Awesome. Awesome, dude.
Just to be a responsible.
Right.
That's responsible. Right. People should know that. Some people won't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, man, you're right. You're right. You're right. Hey.
This man hates Kanye.
I don't. I do not hate. I strongly dislike him. I don't hate him. I don't hate him.
Why do people cop with try to do the? I strongly dislike. That's like going up all the way to the door and not knocking on the door when you know you need to get in. No, you want to be on the other side.
I mean, for me, hate is a really strong feeling.
What's strongly dislike?
Yeah,
it's not strong.
But no. To hate someone for me, it's like one. I have to know you to hate you. Like I don't think there's anyone I hate that I don't know personally or I've never met personally, and I don't hate a lot of people also, but I think, and I've explained the reasons as to why I feel this contempt toward Kanye. Like, you know, I can go on and on about it. So for me, it's just like these things he does, and whether this feels like he just wants attention. Like, I'm gonna change my name to Ye. Okay, cool. Like, I'm happy for you, man. Like,
so why can Diddy go now from Puff Daddy, Puffy, to Diddy, to now he's what? He goes by Love now?
I mean, I've never been invested in Diddy's name changes either. Those have been interesting to me too. But, you know, people want to reinvent themselves. Like Kanye, he could probably use a reinvention. So, hey, maybe we'll get some stuff that's better than Donda and better than Ye. And Jesus King was actually good. I've had some. I've had some
good. Man.
Yeah, I've had some interesting discussions with people where they were like, "That was not good." I was like, "What?" Jesus King was like really good. Like,
I think people also don't want to. Some people don't want to admit that they like the gospel song.
Yeah,
which I think is really weird.
It's a weird, like. Yeah, I think if especially if you don't come up in the church and you're not familiar with gospel music, then it's just a whole different experience for you. But you know, Jesus King was good, so like that, you know. But I just don't care. Yeah. I really don't care.
All right, moving on.
Another project we got this past weekend, Wale, Folarin 2. Now this rollout was, you know, very interesting. Wale has been very. There have been two resounding themes for him over this last year. It's been giving flowers to people and heavy on the gratitude, which kind of go hand in hand. And so the first single from this was Angles, which we got this summer, featuring Chris Brown, which features an I Need a Girl Part 1 sample. Really dope song. Like, I love Angles. Chris Brown and Wale are going to keep a summer hit on them, so not surprised. Second track was Down South, featuring Maxo Cream and I believe Bella Beezy was his name. Let me just clarify that to make sure. Yella Beezy, not Bella Beezy. Yella Beezy. And that features a Still Tippin' sample from Mike Jones. And then the third single was Poke It Out, J. Cole, which samples Vibrant Thing. So, and Wale's always been a sampler, and he's one of the best samplers, interpolators in my mind in hip hop. So I wasn't surprised by this. But with him continuing to say, you know, I'm giving flowers, in my mind, I was like, oh, this is going to be a project of like all classic samples, which is dope to me. Like, because, you know, Wale is the type of person who people feel how they feel about him. He's very polarizing. People feel like he's always begging for attention, or he's jaded by the music industry. Rightfully so. He's dealt with manager problems, label problems, and like, he is super talented, and you know, because he came up in that class with J. Cole, Kendrick, and
he's
Drake,
salty.
and
he's
like,
salty.
I don't. I mean,
like angry. Like, I think he's not angry at them. I think he's like I should be up there too. Like, I could be up there too. And I think Wale has always been in the top 10 conversations as far as like our generation of like people who've you know, made impact or whatnot.
Yeah. He doesn't get his recognition because I think those three, Cole, Kendrick, Drake, exceeded expectations. Like, they
sustained.
Yeah, and for him, it hasn't been like a start-stop thing. It's like he's had quality every project, but they just haven't moved the way Drake, Cole, Kendrick has. And, you know, as an artist, like, I can understand why that would be something that makes you frustrated. So,
you know what I think it is? And just a real quick aside. Explain to me what you think Wale's artistry is. What's his message?
I just think he's very human. He's very vulnerable. He packs a lot of different things into his art, which I love. Like, it's a stream of consciousness. He'll give you a sports reference. He'll talk about his mental health stuff. He'll talk about love. He'll be toxic. He'll acknowledge his own wrongdoings. He can jump onto the trap stuff and just have fun, give you a party banger. He's extremely versatile, and he's a poet too. He's real poetic. Like,
what's his sound?
He doesn't have a sound.
I think that's what got him.
He can do everything.
But I think that's a cop out to the idea of like having a signature sound. Like, tell me, you know the Kendrick signature sound, you know the Drake signature sound, you know the J. Cole signature sound. Be like, yo, this sound like a J. Cole, Joe. This sound like this person. Even, you know, a lot of other artists have that. That's why I'm curious to say, and I'm just challenging. I'm putting out to say, like, what is Wale's signature sound? For those who are Wale fans, if y'all would say, give us some words on Twitter and let us know what you think. We'll tweet this out to say, like, what do you think Wale's signature sound is? What are those characteristics of it?
It's like that. I guess it would be that like spoken word rap hybrid stuff, and then he does go. He fuses go and hip hop, but yeah, I mean, I couldn't put a label on what his signature sound is, and I'm a huge Wale fan. Like, most of his stuff I've loved. So
I think that's what's not resonating. That's what's not clicking, because I couldn't tell you what his sound is, because I've heard him on a bunch of different vibes. Wale's dope. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Yeah. I've heard him on a bunch of different vibes, but it's like I can't point to what's the Wale signature sound.
That's fair.
And I think people who are not as attached to a Kendrick, not as attached to a Drake or a Cole, can still point to oh, that sounds like a Drake song. Yeah. Or that sounds like a Cole song. You know what I'm saying?
It's a good point. It's a good point.
I'm just curious about. I think that's what's kept him out of that major conversation.
Yeah. But all that to say, Folarin 2, really enjoyed it. 16 tracks. We got Jamie Foxx on there. We got Boyz II Men, Ant Clemens, Rick Ross. It's always good to see Wale and Rick Ross come together. And as I expected, there were a lot of different samples on the project. Things that I don't want to, if you haven't heard it yet, I don't want to ruin for y'all. But it's really cool. Like the way that he did it. It felt like he was having fun with the music, and it always feels like there's this tension within him, which is understandable, where he wants to prove something to people, and he wants that acknowledgement, he wants that acceptance, and people just continue to reject him. And for me, it's like, yo, at this point, are you not entertained? Like, look at what Wale has given us over the last few years. We got Wow, That's Crazy 2019. We got The Imperfect Storm 2020. Folarin 2, if you haven't heard it, like, that joint is dope. You can step back further than that. 2018, he gave us 3 EPs. Free Lunch with My Boy with Cole. You go back further than that. Shine, which people didn't like. Shine is real dope. And Shine was really cool because Wale introduced, like, Davido to the people. Like, Wale's been one of the first people to link up with certain artists who are, like, the biggest artists out now. Yeah. Like, he's one of the first ones to kind of call on them and give them that spotlight. So I think, while he's giving his flowers to legends on this project, he also deserves his flowers too, because he's been around for so long and given us so much. Like, you might think you dislike Wale, but you have a favorite. Every year, you probably have a favorite song that Wale is a part of, and you just can't deny, like, Lotus Flower Bomb, Bad, Ambition. Like, what he's an indelible part of the 2010s, and he'll go down for me as an all-time great. So Folarin 2 is dope. Definitely encourage y'all to tap into it. But with all that conversation, we are parched. So what you sipping on?
I'm sipping on the good H2O.
Very important.
Gallon version, as the water jug warden.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? Water break. Not the real water break. Shout out to anyone who's on Cornell's campus.
Might need to get some gin tonight.
I'm good off that. Yeah, no thanks on the gin. Camden, I hope you don't drink gin. Yeah, gin is disgusting.
Gin is great.
We love ourselves.
Gin is water.
Oh God, yes. I can't believe that was a thing. Whew. Anyways, y'all, our half and half is coming out of Music Business Worldwide. This is a really interesting story. I wanted to highlight this one. So Spotify is teaming up with Shopify. The Fives is teaming up. The Fives is teaming up So Spotify is going to let artists turn their profiles into virtual merch tables with a new Shopify partnership. This is by our guy Murray Stassen. Shout out to Murray. I've literally done so many halves from Murray's work. So thank you, Murray. And so basically, Spotify has partnered with Shopify, who's an e-commerce platform for those who don't know, to have a new integration that will allow artists to sell merch via the artist profile. So when you go on to Spotify, search up Armand Sadler, you can see, and then boom, you could buy a Stay Busy hoodie, which is coming soon. Y'all don't comment. But so yeah, that's going to be really dope, which is a part of a new initiative for Spotify to help developing new tools and resources to help artists turn listeners into fans into super fans, and ultimately for them to be able to earn more. So a little bit about how it's going to work. So what it's basically going to do is, so teams will need admin access to the Spotify artist accounts. For those who don't know, Spotify has another app for Spotify for artists, so artists can go on, track their data, look at, where the song is doing well, all-time streams, all this metadata that they can use to be able to make decisions for their business. So that will all be accessible to them. So then once an artist's Shopify store is connected to Spotify, they can publish up to 250 items from Shopify to Spotify for artists. And then they can choose up to 3 of these items to show on the artist profile. So 3 items will be available to be for sale once you go to an artist's profile. So of course they want them to allow to be able to easily manage their inventory and control what's on there on the featured profile. So out of stock, a cool thing that I thought another feature was like out of stock items will automatically get removed from the profiles, and then new merch releases can immediately be shared alongside with the new release of new music. So, for example, Majid drops a project, then you can get a Majid rug. I don't know, whatever you like. But I think this is a really, really cool thing. And Spotify has taken this step before because they've done virtual events, event listing, tipping, things you can do for first fan email tools. Just really like fans first, as I said. I'm sorry. So this is really dope. And another thing, Spotify don't be paying the artists the way they should. But one thing they're gonna do is say, well, you can go get your own money through our thing.
Yeah.
So I think this is an interesting opportunity, and I think it's turning more what they always envisioned. This might have the potential to turn Spotify into more of a social network or like a social media platform. Yeah. Because with the follow, like how many people do you actually follow on Spotify?
Probably like 40, 50.
Right, but it's like people and you're also a journalist. Yeah. Make playlists, all that stuff. So the average person, I don't think is following people on Spotify, right? Yeah. I always just think like, well, why would I have this? And I think this is another step for them to kind of take towards trying to curate some sort of feed, if you will, like outside of just the algorithmic playlists. It's like, hey, your favorite artist Armand just dropped a new podcast. He also has merch. Go check it out. I think that's going to be integrated as well. So this is a really interesting thing that could be happening soon. So yeah.
Spotify is always pushing it forward on the social front. I like it. That's really why I use it primarily. Is it's more user friendly, and that like you can like merge your taste with one of your followers, and then it curates a playlist based off of that, and it updates it daily, like stuff like that. So they're always pushing the needle. So shout out to Spotify. Let's jump into our employee of the month, brother Mike Hamilton Jr., Senior Director of Commerce at Epic Records. We've given y'all the intro already, but he's a 2021 hip hop R&B power player named by Billboard, named a noisemaker by Hits Daily Double in 2020. Previously worked at Atlantic Records, and he's just a really, really great follow. He's always presenting these interesting questions, like the other day on Twitter, he was talking about how Billboard and the charts, they need to shift the way streams are counted towards album sales, because like you can have an album that goes platinum because like one song, like let's say you drop your album on Friday and you've had a single that's out for super long, the album is immediately gold because that single has been cooking so long.
It's cooking, and
it's kind of misleading. It's like, oh, the album went platinum, but it's like, well, no, it's really just that one big song that's doing the thing. And that's why it's become, and music has always been very singles driven, but especially now streaming, it's very singles driven, because you can put a song out, have it cook for a year. Then you just throw an album out, and the album could be mid, but because you have that one song on there that resonated with people, you can jack, oh, my album went platinum in a day, this, that, and the third. And I've always felt that way too. So he's always throwing out really insightful questions and challenging the industry, and it's dope to see someone within it who isn't just conforming to it. He wants to see it change for the better. So yeah, one more shout out to brother Mike Hamilton Jr. All right.
Yes,
let's get into some slides.
The best song wasn't the single, but you weren't either.
So we are here for the slide deck. I think you went first last week. Yeah. So I'm gonna go first this week. I brought a track. I got hip to this artist very recently, and she's been doing her thing. Like she, if I had to make a list of who I feel is going to like really be huge in 2022, this artist would be on there. So this is Byrie. The song is called Paraíso. Paraíso.
Yeah.
And it's produced by Little Island and Johan Lennox.
Working on my phone to please day and night. I've been grinding in my sleep, feel the fire in my sheets. It's my time. You wondering where I've been? I've already forsaken him. I have chosen a higher road.
She's like that. She's like that. She's definitely like that. Wow. Her voice is really rich to me. Like
that mixing was crazy.
Good, great mix.
The mixing was freaking.
She's a singer. Just the progression into that falsetto was
good choice. That's what a good melody would do for you, bro. Yep. It makes you listen. You ain't got to know her from nobody, but if a good melody, she's singing a good melody with a good voice, it's gonna lock you in immediately.
Yeah, so like I would see her all over social media. I'm like, all right, everyone's posting about this girl. Well, let me listen to her. I play this track. I'm like, I get it.
I get it.
I get it. I get it.
I get it, guys.
She had a show in New York recently. I didn't get to make it, but she performed with our boy Allsar, who we played.
Allsar
last season. And she's the streets love her. This song came out maybe like a month ago, and like it's going crazy on Audio Max. So
there you go.
She's resonating, and I can't wait to see what she does next. We've actually been talking, so I might see some work from me and Byrie soon. So
okay.
That is that. But what did you bring for us to play, brother?
Oh man, I brought a gentleman who is really, really, really talented. This brother has been a songwriter for a long time, singing for a long time, has done a lot of videos online on social media, very present. I'm sure y'all have probably seen his video out there somewhere. He likes to do medleys and mashups of classic R&B songs, soul songs, pop songs, all types of stuff. But the brother is like I said, a songwriter, producer, as well as an artist himself. And so this is Mr. Kevin Ross. This is a song off of a project he released called... What's the project called?
Audacity 2.
Audacity 2. This song is called God is a Genius. Run it.
Hold up, wait a minute. Before we take this to the limit, yeah. Sitting here waiting like we in traffic, yeah. Like a roller coaster that's moving backwards, yeah. Baby wanna go and roll up a backward, yeah. Try to find another but I can't lie. Who would wanna be someone when we
The slide was sliding.
Yo, that's a joint, bruh.
The slide was sliding.
Production, arrangement, vocal parts, everything. Yes. This is what my soul needs, bruh.
Produced by Marlon Allen, Edric Miles. Sorry,
Yeah.
Edric Miles.
I was gonna get there.
Okay. We usually say it before.
Produced by Mr. Marlon Allen, Edric Miles, Kevin Ross, and Jeremy Spruill. Spruill. Yeah.
It's a dope record. Real dope record.
It's a joint, right?
Yeah, he's
now, Red Brother, he be writing to like, it's it's heaven sent. I don't believe in coincidence. God is a genius, because otherwise you and me, we wouldn't be here. Like, come on, man. This is heaven sent. I don't believe in coincidence. Ooh. Writing with melodies and parts. We'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll take vocal arrangement for 500. For 600, actually. They do even numbers. I'll take vocal arrangement for 600, please.
It'll beat being in your bag or being a sad boy any day. So,
Yeah.
Hashtag real music, as they say on social media.
Exactly.
But not to put it down any other artist, but yeah, he's elite. He's elite. He is elite. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, the Slide Deck, Stay Busy Slide Deck playlist is available on all platforms. Hit the link tree in our Twitter or IG bio. And if you would like a slide added to the deck, hit us at Stay Busy Pod on IG and Twitter, or email us at staybusypod@gmail.com. Especially you artists. We want to hear y'all tracks. We want to play y'all stuff. We want to expose the world to y'all. It is hard for me to keep up with everything. I do my best to keep up with everything, but sometimes you got to put it in front of me so I can hear it and then play it for the people. Now, with that, we have quite the board meeting for you all. Are you ready for the board meeting? Good
I'm very prepared. I had a good time. I had a good laugh. Yeah. Sort of just like, I went through a lot of emotions preparing for this one.
Yeah.
It was cool.
So, there was an article written this past week, by someone who I'm friends with. His name is Alphonse Pierre. He writes for Pitchfork. He is one of the more prominent writers for Pitchfork and just generally in the music journalism game. And he's given me opportunities to write for Pitchfork as well, and I'm very thankful for him. But here's the thing, and I say that to also clarify something for you all, because I think we have this thing where when we're cool with someone, when we like someone, people are sometimes scared to disagree with them and to express that disagreement, whether publicly or privately, because of fear of missing out on opportunities, or we have to be politically correct. But in a field that is founded upon an art form, there is inherent subjectivity. There is inherent difference of opinion. And so it's okay to disagree with someone. It's okay that you like something and I don't like something. We don't always have to make it these super messy, chaotic. We don't have to get personal with people and threaten people just because we disagree on something with regards to music. And so I say all that to say, while I do consider Alphonse a friend, I do disagree with him on certain things. I'm very familiar with his writing style. I've been following him for a while, and I see why people do get riled up, because his writing style is very conversational. It's very comical. It's very funny. It's sometimes borderlines on trolling, which people don't like. But, at the end of the day, he does, even in his borderline trolling, he explains things in way more depth than people on Twitter do. And so I completely understand why people would get angry at him, but it's also interesting because it's like, this is just one guy, and granted, he's on a big platform, but he's just one guy who feels a certain way about, music or something. But the problem, which came up this week, there was an article he wrote about an artist by the name of Tizo Touchdown, who I admittedly am not that familiar with. I know he was on Tyler's project, Call Me If You Get Lost. That was my first introduction to him, because like I said, I can't hear everything. It's hard to hear everything. I don't be on everything. But so Alphonse wrote an article about him, And the title of the article alone is Tizo Touchdown is the insufferable fashion rapper of the moment. The article goes on to essentially be very, very critical, but it goes beyond critical. It is slanderous. It is condescending to an extent. It is. Oh my God. It's something that if I were the artist, I'd be like, damn, this guy hates me. Like, wow.
No cap.
This is not the first time something like this has happened. A lot of writers, a lot of personalities in music, they get their engagement, they get their clout, they get their followings off of being overly negative towards things, whether they feel it or not. Right. You put a little sauce on what you're saying to incite people, to draw their ire, to become the topic of conversation. And so this article is it's nuts. Like
I'm sorry, I've been laughing the second you said you ready for the board.
It is nuts. Like it's like damn. But also I'm familiar with this. Like this is how Alphonse writes, and there are a lot of people who agree with him. So it's kind of just like you feel how you feel about it. But the problem came in when Pitchfork posted the article. They quoted lines from it. I want to pull up the exact tweet so you can, if you have anything you want to say before I read the exact quote.
Ooh. Oh my goodness! No, the reason why I guess I'm trying to express where my laughter is coming from. My laughter is coming from just because of just like, dang, bro, like you must hate me. It was a very I guess because I have no skin in this game at all. I don't listen to Tizo. I've read some of Alphonse's work, but never put one to one together that it was him. Mm-hmm. Like going back, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I have read some of his stuff, but it was never this like. The stuff like this never stuck out to my mind. I just remember reading this article and just moments of just imagining someone saying this, and I'm like, God, this is just funny. Like the first word of the article is ugh. The first word of the article
it's crazy. It's crazy to say. And as I searched for the tweet, our friend Olivia Shao-Hope from season 2, shout out to her. She made a really good point. She said, and this is not about Alphonse. This is general, and I'm gonna get into one thing with this. But she said, I've seen Pitchfork write kinder articles about abusers and pedophiles, but they greenlight a diss piece on Check Notes, Tizo Touchdown. And it's like, that is a really good point. Like people overlook a lot of BS when the person's music is good. Like I said, episode 1, good music will uncancel you.
Right.
But the issue is when people think that the opinions of one artist reflect the publication's opinions.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people in Pitchfork may feel the same way Alphonse does, but at the end of the day, this is one writer putting this out. Now, the problem, as I said with this tweet, Pitchfork tweets, and they quote the article without putting it in quotes. So this just looks like their social copy.
Right,
this looks like what they were pointing out. It says, geez, man, just go be a model and spare us. At least make a good song first. You see that without quotes, you're thinking, oh, this is the caption they wanted to put to promote this article. These are the feelings of the publication. This reflects how they truly feel. When you read the article, you see that's what Alphonse says. So it would have made more sense to put it in quotations.
Quotes, right.
And then, maybe tag him or something. That would have brought a lot of mess into his mentions. But this mess is mentions every day. People love him or they hate him.
Right.
And so that was the part where I was like, y'all didn't handle that right. And I've written for Pitchfork, so I'm expressing a respectful disagreement with something that they did, because like you have to understand your power and your influence as one of the most prestigious, notable music publications in the world. Some people
want that Pitchfork article.
Yeah,
people want that.
Some people base their music opinions off of what you say and what you do, and so there's a level of responsibility that you have to have in putting an article out. Like, I'm not saying you have to put the nicest thing
right. You ain't gotta agree
in your caption to promote the article, but you just have to be very careful about how you go about something like this, because this is a very polarizing, contentious piece where, you know, the hugest fans of Tizo, they're all angry. They hate Alphonse or they hate Pitchfork because they're assuming that Pitchfork feels this way.
Yeah.
And this is a larger issue with journalism and criticism because people, like I've said so many times, and I'm probably going to say this so many times throughout this conversation, is people think the opinions of one reflect the opinions of all.
Right.
And that's just not the case. You're an independent contractor. You're a WWE wrestler who, you know, you're a professional wrestler who goes to the WWE. And then you might go to AEW, you might write for Pitchfork, then you might go to Billboard, you might go somewhere else. So like you're just one person expressing your opinions. But these artists, they see, oh, I'm on Pitchfork, it's lit, and then they read it and it's like, Pitchfork is clowning me. This may ruin my career. This may, you know, that, and the third. And so a lot of these artists develop these negative feelings towards these publications that some of them might have once loved because the publication said something glowing about them. Like Zach Fox, for example, he got a 3.6 on his most recent album for his Pitchfork rating. And he went on this whole rant where he hates Pitchfork. And Austin Williams, shout out to him, former journalist currently at BuzzFeed, he said, you know, it's funny Zach Fox has such a problem with Pitchfork because they're the type of publication and people who gave him a platform in the first place. They took him serious as a rapper. So you wouldn't be where you are without these people, and then you're mad that they don't like one thing that you did. And it's just a general sentiment that I've felt about some rappers is like, they love writers when we say glowing things about them, and they hate writers when we express our opinions rightfully.
Right.
So it's quite a situation. And like, while it's funny, like I'm gonna laugh about this
more than
for
funny.
a while, and it's not me laughing at Tizo or laughing about Tizo. You know, I haven't engaged with this stuff enough to form an opinion out of it. I heard one song and I was like, oh, this may not be for me. But I'm not gonna be like, oh no, he's trash, he's whack. But you know, it's just like you have to accept when you're working in a field of subjectivity, when you're working in a field where people aren't looking to say the most responsible thing. Sometimes they're looking to say the funniest thing. Sometimes they're just trashing things for engagement. You got to accept that sometimes you're going to be the person getting thrown into the trash to make someone else laugh. And it sucks, but it doesn't change who you are. Like if you go through the comments, Pitchfork got ratioed, and it's so many people. 596 quote tweets on this.
How many likes?
99 likes, 14 retweets, 596 quote tweets. So many people are like, yo, Tizo's dope. Like, what's wrong with y'all? So it's like that support is there. So I haven't seen him react to it. So I don't know how he felt about it. But like, hopefully he can check those quotes and be like, all right, people support me. And, you know, if this one publication doesn't fuck with me, like that's okay. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. And I
think it goes to a bigger conversation about like, you know, the more serious side of the conversation. It's like these outlets have to be responsible as gatekeepers of the culture or tastemakers specifically, you know, putting you onto stuff before, you know, it's their type of, you know, spaces that you got to be responsible in doing those sort of like journalistic due diligence. You know, like you got to do that. Like ain't no way that should have been tweeted without no quotes on it.
Yeah, right? that was nuts.
You know, like that sort of stuff, and because then it's just a space where it's not even protecting Alphonse, right? It's not allowing Alphonse to even have this opinion without it looking crazy, right? So, and you know, and everyone knows. I mean, if Tizo knows about this, he should be looking at this in a good way because what people gonna do, like me, is gonna be like, man, I mean, I heard him on Tyler, and we said it was not memorable, but it wasn't. I don't remember because it was bad. I don't remember because it was good, right? It was just he was on there. I saw his name and I was like, and I think he's on. We gonna run it up, right? I don't remember, but he's on one of them joints, and I was just like, I mean, good for him. Like I'm not mad at that. He didn't detract from that project for me, but it's like he should be looking at this as like, oh, fire! Like, you know, someone said something contentious about me.
It's gonna expose me,
right?
To people.
Because people are gonna be like, dang, because like literally my reaction. I'm really like, dang, Alphonse, it can't be that bad.
Yeah.
Yo, to start the article. I'm like, dang, it can't be that bad, which I think will segue into our other conversation that we want to have, but I'll let you express that.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, and like when someone expresses such vitriol over something and you're not familiar with it, what do? You check it out for yourself so you can form an opinion about it. So I think a lot of people who were in our position where we weren't that familiar are probably going to do that. So he probably gained some new fans off of this, and Right. Like, you know, you have to look at it that way. Not everyone is going to like you, and that's okay.
And that's okay because it's hard. At the end of the day, if you're looking for everybody to like you, are you being you?
Yeah.
Are you being the most authentic you?
Yeah.
And that's one thing too. You know, when people, I mean, fans aren't responsible. Fans don't be knowing.
Usually not.
You know, whatever. So, I mean, this is probably incrementally. If you look at the day the article came out till after, I'm sure Tizo streams went up on a probably like a little spike. You know, just to show an uptick in just people just checking out for themselves. Like, I mean, I heard him on Tyler, but dang, Alphonse, it can't be that bad, right? And you listen and then you form your own opinion or whatever. But I think this gets to the point that we were talking about earlier. Because when I was reading, I was like, God, why spend so much time on something you don't like that much and writing? Which was, you brought up that point about who brought it up?
Mel.
Yes.
Mel put out a question based off of this article. He asked, should writers write about things they don't like, or should critics write about things that they don't like? And he got a bunch of quote tweets where it was a lot of writers responding to him, especially, and they were like, yes, we should. You know, we should do it with responsibility, but yes, we should write about things that we don't like. Like for me, the whole purpose of being a critic is to critique things. And even the things that I like, I critique them. Like, Certified Lover Boy, I'm going to go back to this a lot. I like it, but there are things that I feel about it that I'm willing to critique about, despite my bias and my connection to OVO, being the OVO fanboy. Like, I'm okay saying, oh, yeah, I like this, but I also dislike this, and I think that's really important. Like, what good is everyone just only saying good things about music? Like, that's just not realistic, because we all don't like the same things, and that's how a lot of these debates start, is like, you know, some people really love Donda, so they prop Donda up. Some people love CLB, they prop CLB up, and they don't like Donda, and then you go back and forth on that. Like, it's just unrealistic for us all to like the same things. And, you know, I think our job as writers especially is to present these perspectives that open people's minds. Like, rather than just being like, oh, this beat was dope, or oh, this one line was dope, like writing about an arrangement, writing about a sample, writing about a callback to someone's old work, it gets people to think about things in a different way and opens their ears up. So I'd have no problem with writers writing about things that they don't like. I encourage it. I embrace it. It also helps you as a writer too. Like, you know, I can go on and on saying glowing things about whatever, but it takes skill to say what you dislike about something, but also present it in a way where it's digestible for someone who feels opposite from you. Ooh. And that's the most important thing, is to write in a way where even if someone disagrees with you, they can understand you and they respect you. And some of the best people do that. Craig Jenkins he's at New York Mag and Vulture. You know, I don't always agree with him, but every time I read it, I'm like, okay, like I see why you feel that way, so I'm not mad. Alphonse, like I said, I agree with him sometimes. I disagree with him sometimes. He usually just makes me laugh with what he says. Bruh. So I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm entertained reading this, so I'm not mad at it. Even if I completely disagree with you, you made me laugh. So that's perfectly fine. Who else does a really good job of Fraser Tharp? I don't always agree with him, but like he writes extremely well. Like the best writers can find that middle ground between the people who agree with them and the people that disagree with them, and make it so they're still willing to engage with the content and disagree, but it's still digestible for them.
Yeah.
So
it's really interesting when I think about critics, and we talk about just critique as a whole, critique of art. Mm-hmm. And then because we know there's so many people who go to Pitchfork, it's odd, I think, to go to such a prestigious, if you will, place, or like who's covering the niche sort of at the ground level sort of type of music, art, whatever it is, to go to those type of outlets because you want to delve a little layer deeper, then taking their critique of something. But then what I'm getting at is at the point that sometimes I feel like I get worried about the average listener or the average person being swayed by a negative review of something, right?
Yeah.
Of something that they would like. Yeah. And not being able to do the due diligence to try it for themselves. Like, for example, movie reviews, right? At the end of the day, like, I never, like, a Rotten Tomatoes and all that, I was like, oh, I know people who literally will not see a movie if the Rotten Tomatoes is not hitting. Yeah. I know people who will literally not go to a restaurant if they've been told to go there, whatever, but the Google thing is not hitting, or the Yelp is not hitting, right? Yeah. And I find that so strange. It's like, why are you basing the opinion of someone you don't know And then why are you letting that be your source material, your guide to whether or not you're gonna like something you haven't tried?
Yeah.
And that's I guess maybe the only caveat, if you will. You would hope that Pitchfork listeners and readers are a little bit more responsible, right? To be able to understand the nuance of like Alphonse expressing his opinion versus like him saying that this is law.
Yeah.
Right? You know?
And that's one of my biggest problems is like I got into a debate like a month ago, 2 months ago, where someone tried to tell me the consensus on an artist because they read Metacritic. And I'm like,
wow.
Metacritic aggregates their scores from other publication scores. They aggregate them, they build an average from that, but like that doesn't mean anything.
What does that mean? What does that actually mean?
There's so many critics in the world at the highest places. Critics at Pitchfork and GQ and New York Mag and Billboard. Some of them with their own independent blogs. Some of the independent writers are better than some of the people at the biggest blogs. So it's like you know, you're getting this limited perspective and you're using it to broaden to the entire music landscape, which just isn't true. Like, especially when this artist is one of the biggest artists in the world, like there's the consensus on him isn't just based off of the people who are writing about him. It's also
the streets.
The streets, the numbers, like the charts, like the critics may feel one way, but the numbers reflect something completely different. So you can't have an idea of how the world and the music world feels about someone just based off of what a publication or multiple publications puts out, because there's so many other publications who are doing really, really dope independent work and they just aren't up there because, you know, they it's not their time or whatever. So yeah, like I completely agree with you. Like I usually don't read reviews at all until I listen to something, just so I can develop my own perspective about it, and then I'll start reading reviews to see how people I respect, or people that I might not even like that much, just to see how they feel about it, because I value that diversity of opinion. You know, so you might say something that opens my mind up to something else, and I can listen again. But it's really dangerous to let, like, yes, I get paid to write, and I take a lot of pride in that because I've worked hard to get to this point, and I like to think that I have a very responsible and very detailed and expressive way of talking about music, where people can understand it and digest it, even if they don't agree. They appreciate the way that I articulate myself. So I take a lot of pride in that. But at the end of the day, I'm just a person with a music opinion.
Come on now.
I was talking to my boy Adam about this on Thursday night, because he had an extra ticket to a show at Brooklyn Mirage. Porter Robinson, Jai Wolf, James Ivy. It was EDM music. I was sober, so it was interesting, but it was enjoyable though. For me, it's just like EDM is weird because like they very minimal on the lyrics. Like I need lyrics I can get into, especially if I'm not at the place where I could just sink into a beat and just all that. But we're having a conversation, and he brought up, you know, my Certified Lover Boy perspectives on episode 1, and I was like, yeah, man, like that's just how I felt, and I've never said that in conversation with people, because so many people come to me for my opinion on music, and while I really appreciate it, it's so flattering. I don't want them to think I'm some supreme authority on music because of where I've written, because I get paid to write. Like, while I take a lot of pride in it, I'm just a nigga with an opinion. That's all I am. I'm just a nigga with a music opinion. I got ears just like you.
Well, no, your ears is special.
Thank you. But like my approval of something should not dictate your approval of something.
That's my point.
My disapproval of something should not dictate your disapproval of something. So when people like ask me for my opinions, I'll give them. But these days when I'm in music conversations, I try not to even like talk too much, because as we've said so many times on this podcast, for better or for worse, some casual music listeners, they'll just say, that's dope, that's fire, I like it, it's top 5. I come in with the nuance, the analysis, and like I almost feel like I make the conversations not fun, especially if I don't like something that they like. I don't want to break down the mixing was off there, all that, and like I don't want to ruin someone else's enjoyment of something, so I try to withhold my opinion, which almost feels contradictory to me saying like while I try to withhold my opinion in conversation, I think that I should be able to express my opinion if I dislike something through written mediums. But it's like the problem is people get so offended by someone else's opinion. Why?
And I mean, at certain points too, it's just like, you hold your opinion because you said you just do it with an opinion.
Yeah.
At the same time, just like, bruh, what are we actually talking about at the end of the day?
Mm-hmm.
It's music, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's got to make you feel something.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't make me feel a dang thing, but it made this dude feel something.
And that's
right?
okay.
And it's like,
enjoy what you
cool
enjoy.
with that. Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think it's about you having the nuance and the wherewithal to be able to realize, like, when you can flex certain musical intellectual muscles. You know what I'm saying? Like, we talking to each other, we're gonna be like, bruh, the vocals sound OD compressed.
Yeah.
The chorus didn't lift the song. Blah, blah, blah. We can get into the weeds with it,
Yeah.
right? But when it's someone talking about a song that we really don't feel like much is there or whatever, but they're like hot for it and they love it.
Yeah.
Like, hey, look, I don't really like it, but keep liking it.
Yeah.
You do your thing. You enjoy it. Because I can give you the reasons why if you want to know.
Yeah.
But like, truthfully, you know, it's like, what are we talking about at the end of the day? It's music, bro. Like, it's art, it's food, it's culture, it's whatever it is. And we, you know, I think it's really strange. Like, sometimes people take themselves too seriously with critique,
100%.
and then sometimes people don't, I think, critique enough.
Yeah.
And are just too accepting. So it's about finding that happy balance and that happy medium, be able to just kind of like, you know, say what you need to say without detracting from someone else's experience.
Yeah, I'm only ever speaking for myself. Even if I am commissioned on a publication to say something, I am only ever speaking for myself and how I felt about something. And so I hope nothing that I've written, and I really haven't had any super critical articles come out yet on any other platforms, but I hope, you know, that y'all never take anything I say and use it to hate a certain platform, because that's not the case. Like, they commission writers that they respect. They don't commission people who only align with what they're looking for, because that's also just unethical. Like, it's bias, and that's not what you're not supposed to promote or project bias in music critique, because it's not fair. It's not in fairness to the artist. And so, you know, like, people, don't be surprised in a month or two if Tizo puts out a project and there's a review of it that's good, and then it's like, you know, people are gonna people in the position now where they hate Pitchfork, they be like, oh, well, okay, did they change their mind, or are they flip floppy? Did they not give enough attention? It's like, no, Alphonse said this, and whoever might review him in a couple months said this, and like that's just what it is. There is a wealth of opinions in music, and that's something that we have to accept, and we have to stop getting so tense with one another and so argumentative. And I know social media, you know, thrives off negativity. It thrives off that level of engagement, but it's just it's gross, because we really miss the point. Like, we really miss the point sometimes.
Yeah,
we're different people. I might like cheeseburgers, you might like hot dogs. Does that mean we have to dislike each other? No, we just like different things, and that's completely okay. Like, so yeah,
I enjoyed that. No, I was just saying I enjoyed that conversation. That's nuance, you know.
Yeah,
that's nuance.
Yeah. So I would encourage you all, if you haven't read the article, it is called Tizo Touchdown is the insufferable fashion rapper of the moment by Pitchfork. Read it. Let us know how you feel about it. And yeah, my main critique there is really just the social posting of it. That's just not okay. Like, even as someone who has been paid and is getting paid by Pitchfork, if I were involved with the social media posting of articles, I would be like, yo, do not post that way, because that's just, it's not okay. Like, and Pitchfork has dealt with backlash for years, so I'm sure they don't bat an eye to it. But it's like, you might discourage writers from wanting to write for you, because they might be presented in a negative light when their article may contain more nuance. You know, for Alphonse, he was going in, so it's like, this is very true to what the article is. And I guess, like, there's a part of me that can admire the authenticity and the lack of fear in putting that out that way, but it's dangerous, man. It's dangerous. It's really dangerous. Yeah. So yeah, that's really all that is. People, just accept you have your opinion. I have my opinion. We can still get along. We can still have a beer and talk it out. I'm not an expert. I'm just a dude with an opinion who gets paid for his opinion. So, you know, this is cool, but I'm still just a dude with an opinion. Yeah. And my opinion isn't better than yours because of the fact that I get paid for it. And I think, you know, we all just have to music is supposed to be communal. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be enjoyable, you know, even if we disagree. And that's the biggest thing. And, you know, for these artists, like, I get it. You know, you want to be accepted. You want to be loved. Tizo looks very young, so I get it. You know, he's very, it's like, yo, like, dang, like that, saying something like that could negatively impact his career, but I don't think it will.
No.
Because at the end of the day, it's, even if it's one of the biggest publications in the world, it's one opinion.
Yeah.
So that is that. Let's jump into this bulletin board, some upcoming announcements. So South by Southwest 2022, the initial showcasing lineup has been announced. I've never been to South by Southwest. I would like to go at some point.
Supposed to perform.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
2020. Clipped. Clipped.
Well, that just means it's going to come back.
Pandemicized.
It's going to be pandemicized.
We got pandemicized.
It's going to come back and it's going to be even bigger, man. You're going to be one of the headliners. Do we know the lineup? No?
I mean, I don't know. We can do a quick Google search.
Okay, all right. I thought you was going to be ready with that.
Woo! I mean, there's a bunch of people.
Let's see. We can throw out a couple names. I'm sorry. We got Maxo Cream, of course.
Maxo.
Duma, Ezra Furman, Claire Rose, A Giant Dog, Kristen Hirsch, Bridget May Power, Maria BC, Silver Synthetic, Delta Spirit. Okay, cool. There's a lot of names I don't know, to be honest, but shout out Maxo. Next up, Adele, One Night Only TV special coming on Sunday, November 14th. One thing about me, I'm going to tap into some Adele.
Facts.
And y'all should tap in too. The Digilog and Recording Academy. You could talk about that.
They've connected. So Digilog, shout out to Drew. What's up, Drew?
Yeah.
Digilog and the Recording Academy are collaborating on an event. It's about the voting and professional membership process for the Grammy U. And so it's a free event, RSVP from the Digilog. Follow them on Twitter for that information. It's a free virtual workshop. It's November 4th, 7 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah.
Mm. Oh, and the Adele One Night Only special will be on CBS, and it's with the Oprah interview. She getting about Oprah
on the Cibis.
We're here. As we announced, episode 1, Reggie Becton will be performing at Elsewhere alongside Grace Weber on November 3rd. Make sure you get your tickets. Let's link up. Let's drink up. And lastly, our guy Stats, one of the producers of our theme song and the vocals you hear on our outro alongside Nick. He's an artist from Harlem. He recently released his project, Love/Life. Now, Stats is someone who, I don't know if I've ever gotten to talk about him on the podcast, but he is a musical genius. The man quite literally can do it all. Watching him work in the studio, his production, his singing, his rapping, his ad-libs, his backup vocals. He is one of the most talented people that I've ever come into contact with. And it's really exciting to see him finally put out his own project. You know, he's been a feature on so many different Grizzy stuff, Yao stuff, G stuff, but to see him really do his own thing, it's exciting. It's really exciting, and he's been building up to this for a while. So, project is cool. I definitely encourage y'all to tap in. And, I
want to talk. Stats, we love you, man. We appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just very, very thankful for you coming into my life, my brother. We love you. This is a great project. Also, I'm playing on, for y'all who haven't heard this, I'm playing on the last track, playing keys on it, you know, strides, a little background vocals on the one before that. But you know how we do.
Mm-hmm.
But, really very happy for Stats. This is going to be a great project, y'all. And Stats will be someone you're going to hear in about 2 seconds when we play this outro, y'all. So check it out.
That is fact. So for me, the Billboard Bald Nigga Baller, for my brother Nick, the Water Jug Warden, we encourage you all to stay safe, stay humble, and stay busy.
Baby girl, how you feeling? I've been out in the world, staying busy, taking time, getting right if you miss me. I've been out in the world, staying busy.
Mondays 9 a.m. Party with the gang. Every week, tell a friend. Busy over everything. Busy boys, article now. Ain't you heard? Got the vibes. They put you on. Got the slides. I'm the SARS. Running down. No, we hold it down.
Baby girl, how you feeling? I've been out in the world, staying busy, taking time, getting right if you miss this man.